Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this snowy day. And I'm pleased to announce our leader, Marit Stiles.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. It is so good to be back here in the Soo, and I am happy to stand here with Lisa, who is a community leader, a champion here in Sault Ste. Marie, and David, a dedicated paramedic in Algoma, because I'm here to talk about an issue that we all know has been top of mind for people here in Sault Ste. Marie and for people all across Ontario. Access to doctors and access to care when you need it. More than 2.5 million Ontarians are without a family doctor. And if we keep going down that path, that number is only going to get bigger and bigger. And after 7 years of Doug Ford and his Conservatives, families are feeling it. Closed emergency rooms, increased wait times, burned out and disrespected healthcare workers, and millions of Ontarians who have no family doctor. That's his record. And the Liberal record? Well, I don't have to remind Northerners of their legacy when it comes to hallway medicine or frozen hospital budgets. What is amazing is the current Liberal leader says she thinks her party spent too much on healthcare. I mean, can you believe that? We can't trust Doug Ford or the Liberals to fix what they broke. Here in the Soo, 10,000 people lost their doctor, including my friend Sarah's dad. Even with an MPP who sat in Ford's cabinet, Sault Ste. Marie was ignored and abandoned. But people didn't take it lying down, and I was proud to join the fight here and at Queen's Park, where many of the folks who were affected, including steelworkers and retirees, joined me, because it was you, the steelworkers, who built the health center, and you were not going to back down. We fought back, and I'm here today to say, we can fix this. Today, I'm announcing the Family Health Guarantee, my commitment to you that an Ontario NDP government will connect every single Ontarian to team-based primary care. It's a major shift that will make it easier and faster to get the care that you need. And here's how we're going to do it. As Premier, I'll immediately launch 100 days of action for primary care, making the quickest, most effective changes from day one, like fast-tracking the applications for new family health teams and also cutting the wait times with a central referral system. That'll make it easier to see a specialist. I've talked to physicians all across the province about what they need for their government, and let me tell you what they tell me. Marit, let's just let doctors be doctors. So we're going to do just that by cutting down on the amount of paperwork that doctors are asked to do and giving them more admin support so that they can spend more time with patients. And we're going to add at least 3,500 doctors into the primary care system over the next 4 years. That is the scale of what's needed. We're going to clear barriers that are preventing thousands of internationally trained doctors from practicing here, and we're going to get them into the workforce. And we're going to take a targeted approach that delivers more care to the north. We're going to hire 350 doctors for Northern Ontario. Let me say that again. 350 doctors for Northern Ontario. And we're going to establish a Northern Command Center to manage the healthcare worker capacity all across the north. Because it's time. It's time that the people of the Soo and all across the north got the respect and the care that they deserve. And we've got an incredible candidate here, from here, who's going to deliver that respect every single day. Lisa Vizot-Allen and I are on your side, and we're going to work tirelessly until everyone in this town has a doctor. Vous pouvez me faire confiance. Mon engagement envers vous. Que tout le monde en Ontario ait accès à un docteur. Another issue that we can't ignore is Trump's looming threat of a trade war. That's going to have devastating impacts for communities like Sault Ste. Marie and all around this region where the economy runs on steel. Trump's threat isn't just about trade. It's about real people, about real jobs and real families. Ontarians want their leaders to protect them. As Premier, I will fight day in and day out to protect workers, defend jobs, safeguard communities like the Soo from economic uncertainty. And you know what? I am so proud to stand here with so many workers, paramedics like David, healthcare workers, and also with Bill Slater, the president of USW Local 2724. And Bill's going to say a few words. I'll invite Bill up to say a few words now. I'm just going to move over.
Hello. The group health center dropping 10,000 patients wasn't just troubling. It affected so many of our colleagues, our families, and our friends. For 6 decades, the center was a pillar of our community, providing essential health care, built by USW steelworkers. The situation exposed the urgent need to protect healthcare access. The healthcare workers and administrators work tirelessly, but we can't expect them to fix this alone. We need real solutions to fixing our healthcare system, not just temporary band-aids. This didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of underfunding and government inaction. Ontario's healthcare system is stretched to its breaking point. What Marit and the Ontario NDP is proposing is a strong first step to addressing the crisis. Her plan means more doctors, more care, and faster access for patients. Workers expect their politicians to step up and fix this healthcare crisis before more lives are affected. Workers in the Soo and across Ontario deserve healthcare when they need it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Bill. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Here, why don't you? I just want to say thank you so much, Bill, for joining us today. You know, it was a bumpy flight in last night, I'll say. It's a bit blustery out there in Sault Ste. Marie today, and you know, this is winter in Canada, winter in the north, winter I grew up with, and but I really appreciate everybody making it out here today because this really matters. And it's something I feel very passionately about. I think we have to find a solution for people, and we cannot afford another 4 years of this in Ontario. So New Democrats and I, as Premier, we're going to deliver this change for Ontario. And with that, I'm really happy to take any of your questions. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sault Ste.
Lovely to see you.
You talk about training new doctors. There are a lot of good candidates that are trying to get into medical and have medical school and have been trying to get into medical school for years, but have not because there's not enough space for them. How are you going to specifically address that problem? We've got candidates right here ready to go.
Absolutely, and that's why, you know, we've been working really closely, not only with the OMA, but also with the Northern Medical School, the Northern Ontario School of Medicine, to make sure that we have a target that's realistic but possible. We have to expand the number of medical school spaces and residencies, and we have to do that right here in Northern Ontario. If there's anything we've learned, it's that we have to actually, you know, to keep people in Northern Ontario, we actually have to make sure they have opportunities to go to school here in Northern Ontario. So that's a key part of that. And then, of course, as well, we know that there are many foreign trained professionals right here in the Soo, healthcare workers, who we need to make sure have the credentials to work here as well.
Just as a follow-up, you know, hospitals are suffering. They're having budgetary problems, et cetera. Recent registered nurse graduates are only receiving part-time positions at hospitals, including here at Soo Area Hospital. You've talked about the ER emergencies and hallway medicine. You know, should the hospital formula funding be changed in any way to adapt for this, to help improve the healthcare system in that regard?
Well, look, I mean, you know, we have to look at everything, but I'll tell you this. We are spending more now and getting less than we ever have. And part of that is because we are privatizing parts of the system. So we have nurses. I mean, that's a really great example. Nurses that I meet all the time, and other healthcare workers who are burned out. You know, they talk about the moral distress that they feel because they cannot deliver the care that they need to deliver to their patients, because they're just simply there's so few of them now. And they've been so deeply disrespected by this government, a government that took them to court to suppress their wages, just at the time when we needed them most. And so what we're seeing, and I see this in hospitals all across Northern Ontario, is we are hemorrhaging healthcare dollars into private nursing agencies. That costs more, and it doesn't help us at all. Because at the end of the day, what we need are people in our communities, healthcare workers here, who know what they're doing, who feel respected, who feel supported. So we have to look at the whole system. There's no question. And Doug Ford and the Conservatives, but you know, they have poured gasoline on a fire that the Liberals before them built. Yeah.
Corey Norris from CTV News. You talk about the shift to get more healthcare workers in general. A lot of people are trying to go to the United States for that private care. Can you just talk about the relationship, how it's likely changing, and how you hope to ideally probably end that?
Yeah, look, I think especially in border communities, right, that is a real thing. We know that, people seek that care where they can get it, because when you need health care and you need it now, and that's what we're promising, is we are committing to getting people the care they need, where they need it, when they need it. And look, our public healthcare system, we're New Democrats, right? We built this healthcare system in Canada. It is what makes us, it's one of our strongest values as Canadians, is that everybody gets that care, no matter how much they earn. It means something to us, but not only that, it's a key reason why industry located here, American industry, like other industry located in Ontario, because of our public health care system, because it saves everybody money. It's a very important part of our system, and it is something that Doug Ford, the Conservatives, have allowed to just fall apart. I think they thought they were going to make money for their friends in private health care. Well, they were wrong. We're going to shut that down. We need to make sure that our public health care is strong. And I am so confident that we can do that. We just need a government and a premier who's out to care for Ontarians.
Kind of an unrelated follow-up, but you've mentioned doubling ODSP. Any plans to change or improve upon Ontario Works?
Yeah, that was part of my announcement a couple of days ago. Absolutely, we need to see those rates go up. Look, OW, ODSP, this is legislative poverty. People can't live off that. They can't live off that anywhere in the province of Ontario anymore. So we've got to do something about it. But we also have to, I think, and it's really important here in the Soo, like it is all across Ontario, we need to actually build housing that's affordable, supportive housing. We have to bring in rent control and things like that to make sure that people don't lose their homes. And we're going to be releasing more details of a plan to continue to help make life more affordable for people and address the cost of living crisis.
For those on the line, please press *1 to ask a question.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
James Hopkin, reporter for Soo Today.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what you would do specifically to address the problem with emergency departments all across Northern Ontario, but in particular smaller communities such as Thessalon, an hour east of us,
right,
that has just constant closures, and they just don't have the staff. What are you going to do to address the emergency department situation in rural communities?
Well, I mean, first of all, this is about prioritizing the North, and I think our Northern Command Center is going to specifically address those Northern issues that, look, let's face it, the crisis in healthcare is in every corner, in every region of this province. But in Northern Ontario, it is very particularly intense and difficult, and we've known that for a long time under the previous Liberal government, and now under the Conservatives, they have failed to respond. So we're going to set up a Northern Command Center to coordinate the response to that. And without question, we cannot have emergency rooms closing. Right? We need people to be able to get the care that they need when they need it. Paramedics like David here know that. firsthand. Healthcare workers, they know. People are risking their lives. And on roads, like we're seeing today here in the Sault, on roads that are also, frankly, most of the time kind of dangerous. And you're asking people to go further and further. You know, you can't have a baby in your home community anymore. You can't get the care you need. People are showing up at emergency rooms with sick children, unable to get the care they need. That is unacceptable in a province like Ontario. We have to do better. And as the premier of this province, I'm going to deliver that.
And just as a quick follow-up,
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long do you think it would take you, logistically speaking, to get this Northern Command Center off the ground and operational?
Our commitment is mostly to get things done within the first 100 days. So that's the first 100 days commitment. The cost of filling the doctor gap is $4 billion over 4 years. But we're going to get it done. Because, you know, I'll tell you something. I moved here to the province of Ontario, 30 plus years ago from Newfoundland. Some of the first places that I came to, I had the privilege of coming to Northern Ontario and working up here a little bit. And I'll tell you something. I know that we've been dealing with some of these issues for a long time. Well, it's time it ended. We've known this was going to happen. We saw it coming. And government after government failed to deliver the solutions that were necessary. So we got a lot of work to do. And it's going to cost something. But we can't not address it. We have seen the cost of not investing in healthcare in this province.
We have Lane Harrison on the line. Lane, please go ahead.
Hi, Lane.
Hi. Sorry to ask a Toronto question when you're
That's all right.
But I'm
People here are going to laugh you out of the room, though. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's why I didn't want to show my face, hiding on the phone. So earlier, or I guess yesterday, the PCs shared an idea, what they're calling Go 2.0, which we heard a little bit about before the election. But yesterday, they included in that promise a Go transit line that would go through Midtown Toronto, which is all predicated on CPKC letting them do that on their freight lines, which we know can be a challenge. So I'm just curious what you think of this promise to have a Go line going through Midtown Toronto from the PCs.
I mean, look, Doug Ford is going to promise just about anything right now to get himself reelected, to hold on to his seat. We've seen that. He's had 7 years in government to deliver on transit and transportation in this province, to relieve the congestion on our highways, to fix the highways in Northern Ontario. He's not delivered on any of that. You know, we have the Eglinton LRT, 15 years now, 13 years, and it still hasn't opened? I don't believe anything he's selling right now, and I think that's going to be the same for a lot of folks in Toronto, in Midtown, and all across the province. People aren't going to be conned this time by his empty promises.
Thanks. That's all for me.
Thanks.
Next, we have Liam Casey. Liam, go ahead.
Hi, Liam.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I'm just looking at the background and talking about, it sounds like the plan is kind of similar to what the PCs have proposed in terms of the community health kind of primary care team model, but you guys would essentially just expand it dramatically. Am I understanding that correctly?
I mean, I think there's a lot. Look, there's an integrated health team approach. It takes lots of different shapes, and I think what's important here is that New Democrats have supported this model of care for a long time now, and promoted it and pushed it forward. And, you know, Conservatives, Doug Ford, he had an opportunity for 7 years to move forward on this and to actually deliver solutions to the crisis. And instead, he poured gasoline all over it, and we have a worse crisis than we had when he was first elected back in 2018. And let's not forget, it was really bad under the Liberals too. So, you know, this is definitely in line with what New Democrats believe in, and we think it's actually the best way to deliver care. And it's also, I would say, really important that if we're going to encourage people to come into these integrated health teams, to be part of our hospitals, to work here, we need to show them a little respect. Doug Ford disrespected them. He took healthcare workers to court to suppress their wages. He showed deep disrespect for all those folks. They're burned out. They're feeling that distress. They need a government who's going to actually respect them, work for them, work with them to deliver these solutions.
Thanks. Is it more realistic to accomplish everyone getting sort of on a primary care team as opposed to every single person getting a family doctor like the Liberals are suggesting? Is this a more pragmatic and realistic goal, I guess, the team model?
I mean, look, yes, I think it is, certainly in terms of getting people access to primary care that they need. But we're also saying we are going to bring doctors back, and we are going to support family physicians, and we're listening to what they're telling us, which is something that the Conservatives and the Liberals have failed to do. I mean, doctors, as I said earlier, doctors are telling us that they want to be able to be doctors. So we're saying, let's relieve some of that paperwork and that administrative burden. And I will tell you, we proposed that to the Conservatives multiple times over the last couple of years, and they have voted no every single time. They're not really interested in delivering care to communities, to people here. They want to privatize it. They want to slice it up and sell it off. We're committed to delivering that care. Absolutely. Health teams are a big part of that. But we also are going to make sure that there's family physicians, family doctors here in communities all across the province.
Thank you.
Next, we have Colin DeMello. Colin, go ahead.
Hi, Colin.
Good morning, Marit. Just a couple of questions about, one, there's this big summit with a whole bunch of industry leaders and the Prime Minister to deal with the tariffs. It doesn't look like the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party nor the Premier nor the Ontario government was invited or is participating in this. What does that say to you about, the role Doug Ford is playing in this fight with the United States, and whether or not he is actually playing a role?
Well, I can't answer for the Prime Minister on that, but I can say this. Doug Ford quit his job when he called this election, and he let a lot of people down when he did that. At the time when we Ontarians needed a government to be ready for what was coming and the threat of tariffs from Donald Trump, Doug Ford quit his job. I'm running for that job. I will be a premier that is there for Ontarians, that fights like hell for every single job across this province for families, and I intend to do that. But I can't speak for why the Prime Minister left him off, but I would say, look, he quit his job when the election was called.
Right, but isn't the fact that there isn't an Ontario government representative there, doesn't that in and of itself, in your view, speak volumes about exactly how integrated Ontario is in this whole battle? Yeah,
it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. I mean, Ontario, our economy could be decimated by if Trump brings these tariffs forward. Obviously, that is it's hugely problematic here in the Soo, and just like everywhere across this province, but especially in communities like the Soo, people are very aware of that. They're very afraid of what this could mean for jobs here, and so I think it's a really big problem that Ontario is not at the table in these conversations. But I got to tell you, the responsibility for that lies with Doug Ford and his Conservatives. He made a decision to call an election at a time when we knew this was coming. He made a decision to try to pull one over on the people of Ontario, try to con everybody into winning another 4 years, when all he really cares about is his own job.
And can I just ask one more question? The Eglinton Crosstown LRT,
yes.
What is the NDP's plan, if elected, to either guarantee that it opens sometime in the immediate future, or to either renegotiate or force a new contract to ensure that that it opens up in a timely manner?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing I'm going to do, and I announced this earlier this week, on day one, we're elected government, I am going to tell people when that LRT is going to open. I'm going to give them the information. Doug Ford made the Metrolink CEO hide that. Then he gave him $1 million raise. It's outrageous. People deserve to know when that's going to open, and I will make sure we have a date when I'm elected.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you out there. Thank you so much, Lisa.